What is going on? Welcome to the OG Frenchy and welcome to my little corner of the world. It is my own little spot out of all the places to be at in the entire world. This is my little spot and I absolutely love it. I am 100% at home back here. I've got quite the setup, got my forge, got my roof, and got my anvil and hammer, and we've got some steel we're going to be heating up and turning into a chef's knife. I've already got a little bit of work done. Started drawing out the heel to this, and that's what we're after, is probably a 10-inch chef's knife, maybe a 12. I don't know, we got a lot of steel to work with here, so we'll see how it goes. But that's the name of the game, is turning this into a kitchen blade. And this will be the piece of steel I'll be using for the viewer edition knife making challenge. And that's something that we've got going on right now. Me and a couple other people got together and said, you know, the YouTube knife making challenge was a lot of fun, especially for the viewers, because you got to do a build along and submit your blade. But it's about time the little people get in on the action, and so that's what we're doing. Anyway, we are going to throw this in the forge back here. We're going to fire it up and we're going to get going on transforming this into a usable kitchen blade. I've got the new forge fired up. You can see it in the background back there. In fact, I'll show you around a little bit. So I've got my corner of the world. Hey, what's going on, Steve? How are you, man? Got the little corner of my world over here. So I got my anvil and stand, hammer, got some tools, got some extra wood, because a feller can never have too much scrap wood and steel, and I got lots of it. Got the little table over here with the forge. This is a single burner forge, just a cheapo off of Amazon, but it gets the job done. Got lots of firewood up here, and then underneath of the little roof that I built back here, we've got my main forging area. This is where I've been working at lately. So I normally put the other forge here and butt them up together and have one long forge. But, you know, I thought, hey, it's really nice out, and I'm not going to be using my homemade press. I'm just going to be hand hammering the rest of this out. So why not just throw on the camera and hang out with you guys and show you around my corner of the world. Yes, I am doing some forging. Thanks for popping in here and saying, hey, we got Steve, we got JKX86, what you making? I am working on forging out a blade from a farrier's rasp. And so I'm thinking about making a chef's knife from a rasp. And in fact, I've already got one kind of started. Not a whole lot of work went into it. You can see it in there. It's widened a little bit at the heel, but outside of that, still got a ton of work to do. So anyway, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. I am working on that for the challenge that we've got going on. Let me get you back in the phone holder here. So anyway, we came up with the idea to do a version of a knife making challenge for anybody to get in on. So if you are into knife making, if you're a veteran of making blades, or you're just starting out, it doesn't matter. From starting now to the end of the year, we invite you to make a blade. And what we're doing is we're using a farrier's rasp and we're turning it into any style kitchen blade that you want to make. And we've already got quite a good handful of people that have reached out to me and said, count me in to do this. So I want to say we probably have at least 25 people so far that I know of, which is awesome. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Appreciate you guys coming on here and saying, hey. We got Musky Face said hello. Got any Medfords? We got Big C a plug. Let's see your anvil, he says. Show you mine, you show me yours. Anyway, yeah, just a little, I think this is a 60 or 70 pounder. It's a Harbor Freight special. It's a Doyle. And this thing is tried and true. It's nothing fancy or special, but it rocks. So yeah, Star Watt said hello. Looked European. Steve Jennings, I am forging a fork out of a railroad spike while watching. Let's go, my man. That's awesome. So yeah, anyway, we're just gonna fire the forge up. We're gonna let the material heat up, and we're gonna see what kind of a blade we can get cooking. Hopefully you guys are having a good start to your weekend. Hopefully it is the weekend. And yeah. Nicholas Herbert, can we do stock removal or just forging? That's a great question. And the answer to that question is you can do stock removal as well. And my thinking behind that is that I want as many people to get involved in this as possible. And I thought that this would be a really good idea, especially for newer people or people that don't like to forge and just like to do stock removal. You can successfully make a really good blade out of a file or rasp without ever putting it in the forge. You may want to test for hardness and make sure that it's hard, but you can absolutely make a great blade out of one. So you do not have to forge. Big C a plug. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. He subscribed. Have a good day, homie. Back at you, brother. Thanks for popping in, man. So yeah, anyway, hopefully that answers your question. If you want to get in on it, I have another video on my page that kind of just goes over the basic information about it, and what all you need to do to put an entry into it. And you have till the end of the year to make it, so you got plenty of time to work on it, and it should be a lot of fun. And then hopefully when you're done with your build, you can email a picture of the completed blade to my email, and then I'll gather all those pictures up at the end and make a video with your knife in the video. I think it'd be really cool for everyone to see what everybody else made. I think that'd be awesome. So yeah, anyway, that's what we's doing. Let this thing heat up a little bit more. Well, heck yeah, let's go. Nicholas, that's awesome, man. Yeah, check out the video on my page for more information about it. There's really not a whole lot of stipulations or rules. It's pretty much that you have to use a rasp or file, and then you have to make some sort of a kitchen blade. So it doesn't have to be a chef's knife. It could be a little paring knife, a butter knife, any sort of kitchen blade. It could be something small or some sort of a cleaver. Doesn't really matter. So I just thought it'd be a good project for everyone, because you know, you can get access to a rasp or a file pretty easy, and you can do it without forging. So, you know, if somebody wants to do it but they don't have a forge or they don't have an anvil and they want to get in, they can totally do it. Yo, what's up? High Torch Forge. What's going on, man? I was just blacksmithing today. Right on. I'm hanging out and I've got some steel in the forge and we're going to be making a blade out of a rasp. That's what we up to. Starting to come up to temperature a little bit. We'll give it a few more minutes and we'll get after it. I was using nails to make hooks today. Right on, man. That's awesome. And Steve says, gotta find a rasp. Hey, Steve, if you need one, I've got plenty. I've got a whole bucket of them sitting over here. Let me know if you need one. I can mail you one or something. If you want, you can email my address and email your home address or wherever, and I'll send you one if you need one. I've got plenty to go around at the moment, so my email is the OG Frenchy YT@gmail. So if you need it, man, hit me up. Don't be afraid to ask. Yeah, here is a small selection of what I have at the moment. I have another whole stack of these inside the barn. So, like I said, I've got plenty to go around. What is up, Hackerson? I am working on making a blade out of a rasp. I've got it in here heating up, and we're going to start hammering it out here in a second. Yeah, so you can see towards the bottom here, I've already started to draw out the heel. So we're just gonna keep on keeping on. Yeah, and I've got a couple of different hammers to use. I've got this one, which is a new addition for me. It is a diamond rounding hammer. This is something that I bought at a local hardware store and is really, really cool. It's got a very slight rounded edge over here. It's domed, but just barely. And then on the other side, it's nice and flat. But this thing is just really nice. I don't really like long handles too much. I find myself choking up quite a bit anyway, but it's not like a nuisance or in my way. So I've got that. 10X Shooters, new to your channel. Well, thanks for saying hey, man. Steve, the email again. So it is the OG Frenchy YT for YouTube at gmail.com. So if you can, yeah, shoot me an email and give me your P.O. box or address or wherever you want me to send it, and I'll send you one. And we got the OG Frenchy fan up in here. Let's go! For those that don't know, the OG Frenchy fan is my beautiful wife. And she sometimes sends hearts through the chat and says hello. She doesn't often, but when she does, I really appreciate it. Thank you, babe. Nicholas says, this will be perfect since the weather is starting to cool off here in Michigan. Yeah, absolutely. That is the best time to get out and do blade smithing or blacksmithing, I feel like, when the seasons start to change and it gets really nice outside. And 10X Shooters is from Nebraska. Let's go. See? All over the country, man. People are into it, and I dig it. Yeah, I've got a lot of really rough hammer marks in here. Well, they're technically not hammer marks. You might be able to pick them up. Yeah, there you go. You see those long lines. That is from my forging dies from my homemade forging press right there. So the last time I worked on this, I had it in the press and had some long sucker rod, kind of like this right here. And so I was using this to squash it out widthwise, and that's what happens. You know, every time it touches the steel, it's going to leave an impression of whatever you're touching it with, whether that's sucker rod or the hammer or whatever. So it's good to use when your thickness is still relatively thick, but you want to be careful once you get down to, you know, a thinner material. You got to really start kind of being careful. Leaving too many toe marks with the hammer or the edge of the hammer. Yeah, so lucky for us, our starting thickness is pretty thick. These Farrier's rasps are probably a 1/4 inch, and so you don't really have to worry about that too much up front, but you know, it is something to think about as you continue to go. Another thing to think about too are the impressions in the rasp. So they have this like little triangle kind of a pattern in them, and that is for hooving the horses for the horse hooves to kind of like shred them, to trim their hooves and whatnot. But if you notice and you look at it, there are actually impressions in here that go a little deeper than they appear. So you have like this smooth face here, and then you have ridges sticking out. Well, you also have those ridges sticking in. So even though it's a 1/4 inch thick, you do have to kind of be careful with what you're using to manipulate the steel. I'll give you a really good example of an earlier blade that I have in here, and it'll be a great example of what we're talking about. So here's another blade that I made out of this same sort of thing. This is a kukri, and it's made from a farrier's rasp. But if you look at it close, you can see little divots and impressions, and that is from getting close to finishing forging and, you know, hitting it with the side of the hammer. So, you know, it's just something to think about, and that's the sort of thing that I am trying to get more conscious of as I'm continuing to forge and continuing to try to develop my skill, so to speak. It's just something to think about. Loved your sword for the military challenge. Thanks, man. I did too. I really liked it. It turned out pretty cool. The pattern is awesome. The handle was kind of a stink, but, you know, for throwing the handle together in a couple of days and for my very first casting of a handle, it is what it is. But I appreciate the kind words, man. Thank you. Yeah, so right now I'm trying to get kind of a uniform thickness. You can see we're pretty thick still towards the tip, but at least in the majority of this, I'm shooting for, you know, maybe an 1/8 inch or so. So we'll kind of work on doing that first, and then once we get it kind of uniform and maybe draw out the width a little bit more, that's when we'll start to get into kind of shaping and not so much moving the steel. I mean, I guess technically you're moving steel when you're shaping, but the majority of the steel moving is going to be, you know, up front, trying to get it to widen or lengthen or whatever you're trying to do, and then like the refinement comes in after that. So what's up, Sam? How are you, man? I just watched your short that you just put out of banging on the same thing. You and I are doing the exact same thing. Pretty cool. For those that don't know, Sam has a knife making channel as well, and he puts out videos of similar content. So if you don't know him, go show him some support. Go check out his channel, subscribe. I'm subscribed, and like his videos and stuff. Yeah, Steve, you did place, didn't you? I was gonna say, who was the guy? The guy that won, Bob something, right? Bob Gore, maybe? I don't know why that name sounded familiar, but Bob Gore. And then I swear, you reminding me that it's ringing a bell now. I do remember seeing your name, and I'm like, I wonder if that's the same Steve Jennings that I talked to. That's funny. You might be the same guy. You probably are. Robert LeGrand, what's going on, Robert? Thanks for saying hey, man. Yeah, Steve, really happy that I placed. Guess there's always a first. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I remember your blade being cool, and I cannot recall it right now. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it. You don't, Steve, you don't have a whole lot of stuff, do you, on your channel? Do you post videos and stuff? I don't think you do, but maybe I could be wrong. Julio says, looks like Jeepers Creepers because you're making spooky weapons. That's right, man. We're making spooky weapons out here. Yeah, this thing is kind of a spooky weapon. And for being a hand-forged blade, dude, this thing performed so well. I tested this on all kinds of stuff, and it still has an edge. I cut a lot of stuff. I cut wood, I cut soda cans, I cut a terracotta clay mushroom. It did kind of deform the edge a little bit on that one. I tried chopping a nail, that didn't really work out. But yeah, I am really surprised at the heat treat on this. For a normal guy like myself in a backyard setup, to be able to make something like this and have it perform like it did was really, really cool. Yeah, this thing is a beast. I mean, it just destroys. You know, and what's cool about this is it's thin. Like the edge of this thing is super thin, and it just rips through material. I really like this. Steve says he took third place. Dude, I'm gonna have to go back and look at the video again. Is there any way to check out your blade pictures wise or video? Let me know. Yeah, and Steve, what did you make again? I can't even remember now. I think the first place guy, Bob Gore, made one of those like trench knives with the little knuckle bow. Does that sound right? I think that's what he did. Or the brass knuckles. Yeah, and also too, Steve, I just, you had commented on one of my videos, but I asked you in the comments, aren't you, I could be wrong about this, but aren't you the guy that helped Eric make his power hammer, or didn't you make it or help him make it or something, or was it a different Steve? I don't remember the Steve's last name, but I do remember watching Eric's video, and him saying something about, Steve helped me make this power hammer. I was wondering if that was you. Maybe, maybe not. Instagram. Frenchy, do you have an Instagram? I do not. I pretty much just stick with YouTube. I did try to do a TikTok. I don't watch TikTok or anything. I do like TikTok's editing platform. I will say that about it. It's really cool. The app TikTok, if you try to make a video, they have a lot of built-in editing stuff. So I really like that aspect about it. But I don't do Instagram. I don't really do TikTok. I pretty much just do YouTube for the most part. So, but you know, it'd be hard too to concentrate on all of the platforms. And one of the main reasons why I, you know, just stick with YouTube is just for that reason. I don't have a ton of time anyway as it is, so the little bit of time that I have to dedicate to the hobby that I do, I like to just focus on just one platform, I guess. So I also have this hammer here, and this was made for me. And it was made by Randy from Newt's Leather and Metal Smithy and Ted from TBW Blades. They both knocked this out for me, and it is a double diagonal cross peen hammer. This thing is awesome, and I may use this a little bit. It does have some pretty fat peens, so like on one that I used, it kind of thinned it out a little more than I was hoping, but we're still at the point where I think I can get away with using this. In fact, we'll give it a go here. Yeah, this thing widens stuff out super quick. Definitely a cool hammer, no doubt about it. You can see it leaves the little marks, and by hitting it, you know, kind of in a line, it's sort of taking the material and starting to widen it out some. I really probably don't need to go much wider in that section anyway. Yes, I built his hammer. I used it a lot and gifted it to him. Dude, that is super cool. I really think that was something awesome. I watched the video where he was talking about it and kind of showing it and stuff, and I was pretty impressed with the engineering. Definitely hats off to you, man. That's wicked, wicked cool. Yeah, I'm blown away. I like to fabricate things. It's what I do for a living. I could not recreate what you made. I mean, if I had a plan to go off of, maybe, but I just think it's really cool that you came up with that and gave that to him. That's just, it's wicked cool. I think a power hammer would be sweet. I've never used one before, but yeah, you know, for the setup that I have, it really doesn't make a lot of sense currently where I'm at, but just to try one out, I think would be a lot of fun. The forge press is definitely cool, and yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself for that. You know, it's nothing too high tech, but it works and it gets the job done. Forging 950 Celsius. Let's go. You can see we're starting to get the classic banana shape, and that's because I am thinning out this side. And so naturally, as I'm thinning this out and it's pushing the material, it starts to get that curve. So we can counteract that by either thinning down the spine or by heating it all up and re-bending it straight. Let's see, Stas Martin, don't miss. What are you doing now? So right now I am making a blade out of a farrier's rasp. This is another one we were just talking about. So it won't be a kukri like this, but I'm making a chef's knife out of this same material. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. Forging is cool. It just is. It's a lot of fun. You get to work with your hands, you get to work with fire, you get to work with a hammer and hit stuff. It's just a really cool hobby. It's got a good mix of labor-intensive stuff that's gratifying, but also the artistic side of it, that you get to choose what shapes you do and what material to use, how to shape the handle, you know, that sort of thing. It's just a really cool mix of skills. Hi, which country are you from? United States. I built my press too and both my grinders. Nice, so you are a natural born maker, which is awesome. And I feel like I am too. A lot of the stuff that I do, I try to make on my own. And I feel like that's a really good skill to have in life in general. To be able to make your own gear is priceless, especially something like a forge press, you know, or a hammer or whatever. There's the old blade I just stuck into the wood back here. Anywho, yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out. We got 29 people in here. That's awesome. If you guys would do me a favor, hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, okay? So you can see when we go to straighten the spine back out, it starts to get a little wonky, but it's not the end of the world. You can straighten it back out. Really all we're trying to do is to kind of counteract that banana, and so we have a little bit here. I'm really not worried about it too much. I still have down here to work on some, so I'll probably go ahead and start focusing on the heel and draw this section out as far as I can comfortably get it, and then we should have kind of the basic metal moved to where we need it to be. I think before I do that, I'll probably finish kind of shaping the tip some. That way I can just kind of be done with that side. So I don't know if I'll hammer the tip all the way in right now, or more of a, you know, rectangle So I'll probably try to begin forming the tip, and mainly for the reason of thinning out the edge. That way there's, you know, the same thickness from the top all the way down. While that's heating up, I will be right back. Give me a couple of seconds. And he's back. And we still have people. Let's go. Thanks for being patient. Just gonna thin this edge out a little bit. Maybe start to hit some of this down. You ever find yourself forging and you're trying to find a good position and you end up with your arms crossed? Or is it just me? I don't know. Anyway, you were building your revolution while I was still digging in the scrap dumpster to get enough to build mine. Oh, okay, cool. So you just recently built yours. That's awesome. What did you use before that? Did you have another one, or were you using a different machine? Well, I'm just using the tripod right now. But you can hang out. Okay. Can you make a samurai sword for me? Stale Burrito 15. Sure I can. What kind of samurai sword do you want? Want a long one? A short one? A samurai sword that will cut the cheese? I got my kid out here, so we're talking about cutting the cheese. Every time he comes by, it's always a cut the cheese joke. Huh? Yeah, so we're hanging out. I got the phone on the tripod. Sometimes Quinn will be my cameraman, but we just kind of have it on the tripod going for the moment. But yeah, anyway. here's a couple of other blades that were made from farrier's rasps. These aren't necessarily kitchen blades, but they're some that I just made for fun. They're kind of more of a camping style blade, good for just a variety of, you know, camping tasks, chopping down logs or firewood or brush or whatever. But both of these are really cool. This one's spalted sycamore for the handle, definitely an interesting wood. Really pretty grain going on in that thing. And then it's got some olive drab liners, which is a cool color with wood. And then the OG Frenchy fan actually picked out these colors and handle materials. And I gotta say, she did a pretty good job. I really like this handle. This has got some oak that I stabilized. And then it's got rich light and true stone spacers. And this thing is pretty cool. I really like this one. What is up? Thanks for saying hi. Terrell. I had built a KMG just like Eric's. Nice. Yeah, that's a cool machine for sure. Be careful for this, okay? I don't want it to fall. Alright, hammer. This is good and hot, okay? Make sure you stand over there. There we go. Now we're starting to get somewhere with this tip. Starting to get a little thinner towards that edge. Yeah, the KMG seems like a pretty cool grinder. No doubt about it. Looks like we got 59 people in here. We sure do. What's up, y'all? Thanks for coming and saying hello. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. My name's Matt. I do a lot of forging projects, mainly making knives, but I like to use all kinds of different materials. My channel is teaching, I guess, teaching what I know. I'm certainly not a master at this, but I try to do a mix of entertainment and education. Appreciate you guys hanging out. I think now we're gonna focus the heat on the tip and get that good and hot, and then we'll try to start moving that material. Can you do into the heating process and what to watch out for with such a thin blade? Yeah, so the heating process, as in heating it up as you're forging, or more for hardening, like quenching the blade? What do you mean by that? And you do into the heating process and what to watch out for such a thin blade. Yeah, so a thin blade in general typically will heat up quicker than a thicker blade. And you do have to watch your heat. Excessive high heats, especially for long periods of time, like forging, will grow the grain structure of the steel, typically speaking. The larger the grain structure, or the more coarse the inside of the metal is, the less desirable. It can do weird things. It can lead to stress fractures or cracking. Becomes a little brittle and wonky, so to speak. So watching the heat as you're going is definitely important, especially when quenching and thermocycling. Especially for forging, you know, you do have to get it to pretty high temperatures for a long amount of time. So you're wanting to, that's why you want to normalize and do a series of heating it up and letting it cool down to try to reset and relax the steel. Essentially letting all the molecules inside of the metal fizzle back out to an even setting, so to speak. Hopefully that makes sense. So starting to look like a big banana, which is not exactly what we're going for, but we're still kind of moving the steel around. Just recently finished up this blade. This one's pretty cool. This is a blade that I made for somebody at work, and he had this particular profile that he designed and wanted me to try to make this for him, and just wrapped it up. I still need to make a sheath for it, but it turned out pretty cool. It is like a 10 or 15 layer pattern welded billet that I turned into this profile. It's kind of an interesting design. You know, you've got the brighter steel and the darker steel behind it. It looks pretty cool. There's a lot of busyness going on up front here and not a whole lot here. But that's the thing with, you know, Damascus. Unless you're super good and intentional with what you're doing, it's kind of a guess. I mean, not really. You can make certain patterns appear, but for a super low layer one like this, you know, you can't exactly get it to be perfect or what you expect every time, which is why it's kind of cool. You know, you don't really know what you're gonna get when you're done, and I think that's why it makes it even cooler to me, because you don't really know what it's gonna look like until you etch it. Anyway, this one's really cool. there goes all of my comments. They have stopped. Maybe I'll try to move the camera closer to the Wi-Fi and see if that helps. Or I'll try to reset the comments. There we go. Hopefully you guys can hear me and see me still. And still see me. That wouldn't be so great. Is it still paused? There we go. Okay, I can see you now. And maybe it wasn't paused. Maybe just nobody was saying nothing. A lot of times that's probably happening too. Hop off earlier, I'm still at work. Yeah, I was just talking to a guy from work about YouTube and doing the time, you know, the time of your videos or your lives, and trying to experiment with what's the best time and all that. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Definitely a cool subject. We just did a live stream at work today, so if you want to see me at work for any reason, I don't know why you would want to, but there is a YouTube channel that my boss owns. It's called Joe Everest, and he owns a fencing company, so I work for a fencing company. Anyway, he does YouTube, and it's a really big channel. He's got close to 90,000 subscribers, and we put out content through his channel. We just did a live stream today of making gates in the fabrication shop, so I don't know, for what it's worth, I'm used to YouTube by now. I've been making videos for a couple of years by myself, and we've been doing it at work for maybe 2.5 years or so. I will email you with the contact info so we can talk if you are interested. Yeah, absolutely, man. 100%. Saturated Odin, what is he making? I am working on making a blade, and I'm doing it out of a farrier's rasp. So I make these, it's not all I do, but I do like to use these rasps to make blades. So here's one that I've made. Another one, same kind of profile, different handle. Kukri out of another one. So they're a lot of fun. You can make all kinds of blades out of them, and they make good blades. This thing is wicked good. It shreds through material and it holds an edge really well. It's still popping hairs. That's awesome. Yeah, heck yeah. I don't know if you make knives or not, but if you do, or you've ever thought about making knives, I invite you to make one. We're making any sort of a kitchen blade out of a farrier's rasp. And it's kind of a friendly, fun challenge that we're doing right now through the end of the year. So I have another video on my channel that goes a little bit more into detail about what it is. If you're interested and want to participate, we would love to have you. I'm going to start concentrating on thinning out this spine section now. Yeah, and you can see with just a few hits on the backside, it kind of counteracts that banana shape a little bit. I mean, I only hit it a few times, but if we were to continue doing that, it would straighten back out. And two, you got to think, I'm making a chef's knife out of this rasp. So, you know, something like this that has a lot of the pronounced, whatever you call that, texture, may not be the best for going through a tomato, right? So you kind of have to think about that too. I really want to try to get the thickness, the overall thickness, a lot thinner this time. The thinnest I've gone, honestly, on one of these style knives, this one's probably not the thinnest, but this is a better example. It's certainly a little thinner than this one, not by much, but yeah, I want it to be much thinner. That way it will cut a little easier and better, hopefully. That is the goal anyway. How wide is it now? That is a great question. I don't know, but I'll find out. I like to grab the yardstick and a silver Sharpie, and I'll mark on my anvil, you know, little tick marks or whatever to kind of get a rough idea of where I'm at. Right in this widest section, almost 2.5 inches. I don't even know how wide they are to begin with, honestly. I think it's 2 inches, but I could be wrong. So we got Okay, about 1.75 inches, I guess. Is that right? Yeah, about 1.75 inches is the width, the starting width. So we're almost to 2.5, not quite 2.5, but we will hopefully get there. Madalena Apreciada da Silva said hello. Hopefully I didn't just butcher that name. Hello, thank you for saying hi. We got a couple other people saying hi in there. What's going on? Thank you for saying hi. Appreciate it. How are you guys doing? FJ says hi. Hello, FJ. Appreciate you guys hopping in and saying hello. What are you guys up to this fine Friday evening? Hopefully you're doing something fun. Hopefully it's a Friday for you. It's technically my Thursday, which stinks, but that's okay. One more day and then we'll be to the one-day weekend. Aha! Yeah, we still have plenty of width left in this. You can tell even when it's starting to thin out here in the middle, that's still plenty wide, no doubt about it. I think we'll probably go ahead and turn it around and start working on that heel some. That's a funky hammer, my man, it is. Billy Boeing. Yeah, it's a pretty cool hammer, honestly, and I was just swinging it in a funky manner. Sometimes I like to try different hammer techniques. You know, I'm still new. I say that, I've only been forging for maybe 1.5 years. I don't do it all the time though, so I'm not gonna pretend like I'm a super great hammer and anvil guy. I'm not. I know enough to know how to move steel, but I'm still figuring things out. So a lot of times I try to, instead of just smashing with the rounding hammer, sometimes I'll do like a kind of a blow like this, like I'm pushing the material some, if that makes sense. So I like doing stuff like that, you know, because I feel like little subtle techniques like that are, you know, they're cool. You can learn different things, and they do different things. Hitting it straight on does something. It spreads the material out in all directions, and then kind of hitting it this way tends to push the material. So anyway, I don't know. Billy Boeing, I'd recommend safety boots. Your toes are okay till they're not. Yeah, great advice. You caught me on a good day, because normally I'm barefoot. Yeah, we were born barefoot, and yeah, I think being barefoot forging is probably not the smartest idea. But, you know, I'm not the smartest guy, so luckily I haven't had any accidents, knock on wood, and I don't think that I will because I'm pretty careful. I'll tell you what though, forge scale popping off sure does get hot on your tootsies, no doubt about it. I do like to kind of slow down when I'm at this stage, when it's getting thinner, and instead of trying to move a lot of metal at once, I take a little bit easier blows. That way I can move it a little bit at a time and I'm not leaving really rough hammer marks in the piece. Let's see. Same with glasses. I've been in hospital for my head x-rayed to find metal behind my eye. Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, I pretty much, I'm around metal flakes a lot, metal dust. And yeah, you gotta be careful, no doubt about it. Steve, this fork is looking wicked. I wish I could see it, man. Do you make videos on something else? Do you do YouTube or put out videos or pictures of your work? If so, let me know. I'll definitely check it out. Michael says, I drew up a kitchen knife today. Nice, let's go. That's awesome, man. You were talking about a 500-year-old kitchen knife. I'm interested and curious to see what you come up with, no doubt. I'm getting old, wasn't bothered too much with safety when I was young. Yeah, no doubt, and safety is important. I'm not going to downplay it. It absolutely is important. You get one life, you get one chance at having two working eyeballs. So it is important, and you know, each person needs to, you know, take things with precaution and safety, no doubt. Michael, are you doing a butcher's knife, perhaps? Or what do you have in mind? There we go. Now, I would say the heel is probably close to 2 3/4, maybe. It's a knife that was used in the 15th century for butchery table use and many other things. Nice. What is it? Kind of like a cleaver shape? Kind of a straight edge, or did it have more curve to it? I know you know your historical blades, which is really cool. I wish that I did. I guess I could do some more research into history. But some of your drawings were really cool that you sent me. You could tell they were inspired by history with the different aspects and stuff. Definitely cool. Yeah, I mean, people have been making sharp, stabby things since the dawn of time, whether it's metal or wood or clay or arrowheads or whatever. It's just cool, you know? It's like you get in touch with the roots of humanity doing this sort of thing. I am going to run inside for just a few seconds. You guys are free to hang out for a few. I understand if you got to go. I will be back here in 2 minutes, and then we'll crank this dude back up. I will get you some pictures, but no YouTube. Okay, right on. Yeah, email me, man. I would love to chat with you and see some of your work, because I bet you it's fantastic. All right. Yeah, so I just ran back in to get some of my very first knives. This is the very first knife I ever made. It is out of a piece of rebar, and it is brutally ugly. Super ugly, but this is the knife that started it all. I forged this in some barbecue charcoal and a hair dryer in the ground over here, and had a lot of fun making this. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make another. And then I made another. And yeah, not much you can say about this beauty because she's rather ugly, but I'm showing you this to let you know that there's a big rust spot on the blade. I'm showing this to let you know that not all of your blades in the beginning are going to be gems, so to speak. So if you're new to knife making, don't fret when you make a couple of grenades. This is a horrendous knife that does not cut very well. It is not super comfortable, and there's a sharp part right by my finger. So, you know, take that for what it is. Knife making, like any skill, you can progress at. Not that this is my best blade, but it's a more recent one that is 60 layers of Damascus. Kind of hard to see, I'm sure, but this one's really cool for me because it's the first larger layer count sword that I ever tried to make. It's got a fuller in it, and it's not perfect. You can see a lot of imperfect lines and waves in it. It's got a cast brass handle with a leather wrap, but you know, you do get better as you go on. I have made a couple of really cool blades. These are not them. But anyway, I thought I would share that with you. I like to show some of my earlier stuff for inspiration. Don't be hard on yourself. It's not that bad. Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, I know there's worse ones out there, but I do like to, you know, share where I came from. And I like keeping them because it's a good reminder of where I started. There's my hammer. So this is a pretty good shot of where we started. You can see the bottom of the rasp, which is in the exact shape that it was when we started. And then as we start hitting, it gets wider and longer and that sort of thing. So it's certainly not a great blade shape just yet, but it's getting there. We're thinning it out and trying to move the metal in good directions. I'm certainly not the fastest guy at the hammer and anvil. I really do like to take my time, and in the beginning I rushed through a lot of stuff, and it showed in the final product. Nice hairs, bro. Hey bro, you're having a nice hair day, man. Anyway, I do like to slow down a little bit now and take my time and try to you know, kind of ease into the final shaping and that sort of thing. Just so you know, I consider Eric Rivers my mentor. He is extremely helpful. 100%. Me too. And he is a great mentor to have. In fact, when I was interested in making knives, with the rebar knife that I made, I started YouTube searching knife making to try to find videos to help me, and a lot of them of course were no talking and time lapse and oh look at me, I made a sweet Damascus dingleberry deal and here it is, it's cool. But it was hard to find a lot of good people that talked about knife making, and he is still today one of my favorites, if not my favorite. He's a great teacher. He explains what he's doing. I have learned most of my stuff from Eric as well. So I feel you there, Steve. I would consider myself in the exact same boat. And what's funny is he doesn't even really know it. You know, I don't even know if he knows who I am. I mean, I think he does because I say hi in the chats and stuff, but yeah, he's helped me out considerably just from me watching him, which is cool. The sword you made is a briquette. Briquette. I'm saying that wrong. Briquette. Yeah, there you go. Blah, blah, blah. A briquette. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, you were asking me when I was making it what kind of handle I was gonna do, and if I could go back and redo it, I would redo it, but I'm not gonna do that. The handle was the most disappointing part of it, just because it was my first time trying to cast something. It did not go very well. But I did make a handle shape and got it onto the sword just in time to turn it in. So it was a great learning experience. We probably won't go a whole lot longer. I'll probably wrap it up. My phone is at 5%, which stinks. And I'm about ready for dinner, so we'll probably beat this out one more time and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good place to wrap it up. We're sitting pretty good. We got the width that we wanted all the way throughout the tip. We still have the tip to shape, but gotta leave some work for us for next time. So probably go ahead and put it in the forge and heat it up, let it sit and chill and air cool, and then we'll anneal it. What's up, Shy Rat? How are you, man? Thanks for popping in and saying hey. Haven't seen or talked to you in a minute. Michael says, dude, you did a lot in a small amount of time. Thank you. See, I always feel like I don't. I feel like compared to watching some other people, I move metal really slowly. But that's just my thoughts on it. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm not sure. I just feel like I could have accomplished more. But like I said, I like to take my time. And, you know, the first few knives, I really was just going crazy with trying to get it into a shape. And then at the end, it would have really bad hammer marks. And I was like, well, why'd that happen? And we know why now. Good brother, been busy with squirrels. Shy Rat has been busy with squirrels. Not sure what that means, but you know what? I get it in a sense of, like, I feel like a squirrel sometimes, chasing anything that moves, climbing up a tree, going over here. Oh, I got an idea, I'm gonna go over here and do this. Oh, I got another idea, I'm over here. Yeah. Sometimes my mind is a million miles an hour. Maybe that's what you meant, maybe not. Trapping. He's like, no, seriously, I've been catching squirrels. Nice. Well, that's cool. What kind of traps do you do? I don't know anything about trapping animals or squirrels in particular. What are some methods you like to use? Like a cage or rope, or what exactly do you do? And what do you do with the squirrels when you're done trapping them? That's another question I got. Steve says, thank you for the live. I really enjoyed it. Dude, thank you, man. I really enjoyed your company. It was great chatting with you, man. Shoot me an email sometime, say hey, and I really am interested in seeing your work. I like checking out other people's stuff. It's good inspiration. Shirat says, live set. I use a company in Wisconsin. Nice, okay, right on. I rehome even though it's kind of illegal. Nice. Michael says 22 rifle. See, that would be my idea. Go out and shoot some squirrels with a 22. That kind of sounds fun. You can release on private property with permission. Okay, right on. That's cool. Nice. And right now, let me turn you guys around here. Right now, I am taking a little bit of time to kind of just be careful of what I'm doing to end this forging session. Not that it matters a whole lot, because we can always go back and reheat it. But lately, what I've been doing, which seems to work pretty good, is when I'm done forging, I'll kind of get it up to this sort of a temperature, which is not very hot. It may look hot right here, but it's really not. But I like to get it up to maybe, 1600 degrees or so. Let it kind of hang out for a few minutes, and then kind of bring it out, let it air cool, and then I'll do it again up to maybe like 1400 and let it air cool, trying to kind of relax the steel as I go. Even though I've got a little bit more forging to do, it's just something that I like to do. I don't know if that's the right way to do it or not, but in my mind it makes sense. So wow, you are making a blade. Yes. Appreciate you coming on and saying hi. Thank you. Yeah, I am making a blade. Are you from France? No, I am not. I live in the United States, but my last name is French, and have a lot of heritage from France. Hence the name, the OG Frenchy. Even though I'm probably not the most OG of all the OGs, all you can do is say, geez, OG. Geez, OG, you ain't no Frenchy. But I don't know. I had a few people in high school call me Frenchy, and I was trying to think of a name to call myself. I don't really know. I just came up with the OG Frenchy one day and kind of ran with it. And my forge is not all that long, but at the very least, we try to treat the steel with respect when you're done. Bro, you are from a real democracy. That's correct, man. You know it. So, anyway, thank you guys very much for hanging out with me on this Friday. Hope you guys enjoyed the time. And hopefully you guys have a great weekend. I don't know what you guys got planned, but you know, you only live once. You get one life. Be good to yourself. Be good to the people around you. And try to live the day as happy as possible with no regrets. That is my advice. Appreciate you guys hanging out. As always, rock on. And hopefully, we'll see you guys here soon. Setting your metal to ease. That's it, Michael. Just kind of putting them to bed. Saying, hey, it's been a day. I know you're tuckered out, and it's all right. Just climb on in there. Go on. Go on, get yourself some. Put the covers over you. Tuck your toes in, and we're going to go night-nights. Okay? We're going to go night-nights, little blade. Night-nights. I hope you sleep tight. Okay. I'll quit being weird. Appreciate you guys hanging. Jesus is king. You know it, brother. Y'all rock on, and we'll catch you later.